Welcome back to Badass Websites here in BOMU. We're currently in Module 2, Building Your Pages, Lesson 5, Site Navigation. In this lesson, you will learn important do's and don'ts of your website navigation. This is going to be a short and sweet lesson, but it's definitely an important one, so stick around. We're going to start with talking about the 3-click rule. It should never take someone more than 3 clicks to find what they need on your website. If it does, chances are your navigation is too confusing. So go ahead and hop onto your website and test it out to see how many clicks it takes to get to where you want to go on your website. So let's get started. Your navigation structure is important for 2 main reasons: customer experience and search engine optimization. Let's talk about customer experience. How you structure your menus will directly impact the experience visitors have on your site. For example, if it takes more than 3 clicks for them to find what you're looking for, chances are your site navigation is too confusing and you're likely to lose leads and sales because of it. So we want to prioritize customer experience to make sure the site is logical to navigate and easy to navigate. For search engine optimization, how you structure and name your menus will directly impact your Google rankings. And here's what Neil Patel, the SEO expert, has to say on it. Logical site navigation helps Google crawl websites easier and have an easier time of understanding what web pages are about. So when Google crawls your site, you want to make it as easy as possible for the Google computers to understand what your pages are about and how to find them and how to navigate them on your site. If Google says, hey, this site is too hard to navigate, it will ping against you in your rankings. And if it's easier to navigate, it's going to actually put that in to your benefit and rank you higher because of it. Google does prioritize user experience, and so should you. So let's talk about the menus on your website. You're gonna have 2 basic menus. The first one is the primary menu, and that's at the top of your website. And sometimes you will have a footer menu if your design allows for it, and that will be at the bottom of your website. So let's talk about the primary menu. In your primary menu, you're going to have your homepage link, and yes, you do need a homepage link. Not everybody knows that you can click on the logo to go back to a homepage, so you want to make sure you're adding that into your navigation. Your About page needs to be on there, your Work With Me page, and you can name it something like Products, Services, or Work With Me, but make sure you're keeping it short and sweet and not using long, convoluted terms or fun misspellings of names. You want to keep it very clear on what the page is for. You're also going to have your content feed page. You can title it as blog or podcast, depending on your content type. You're going to have a contact page. And then for programs you offer that require a login, you're also going to be using adding login to your primary menu. Aside from the pages mentioned above, little else will ever be linked in your site navigation, so we never want to link the following in your menus. You don't want to include thank you or confirmation pages, obviously, and you also don't want to include limited time promo pages. You can use a hello bar, you can use at the top or a bar at the bottom. You can use different ways to highlight promotions for your website, but don't include them in your primary or footer navigation if they're just up for a limited time. All right, let's talk about your footer menu. In your footer menu, you're going to include privacy policy, terms of use, website disclaimer, and other important non-core pages such as sales pages. In your primary menu, we link to your Work With Me page, but your footer menu, you can link directly to your offer sales pages. Your website policies can go in your footer menu or in your copyright bar. So in the copyright bar of your website, if you can edit that, you can also add links directly to your copyright bar, and instead of using your footer if it doesn't give you an option for a footer menu. Quick note, your website policies privacy policy, terms of use, and website disclaimer should show up on every page across your website, regardless of whether or not that page is linked in your primary or footer menu. They should show up on every page you have on your site. Okay, before we end, a quick note. Like I said, this was a very short and sweet lesson. We want to make sure that our menus are not cluttered. Do not clutter your menus. Keep it simple, concise, and clear. If it's confusing for a user, it's probably confusing to Google. If it's confusing to Google, it's confusing to the user. So we want to eliminate confusion. Overstuffed menus do make for a confusing navigation experience, so do not clutter it up. Sometimes it makes sense to create drop-down menus to further list pages that you want people to have access to, and that can be okay if you're not going overboard. For example, you could create a learn menu option that opens a drop-down menu and lists your blog or your podcast or links to your primary freebies and resources. But keep your menus as concise as possible and don't be tempted to add a ton of links. Also keep the terms short as possible. Don't use long sentences. Just keep it short and sweet so Google knows how to crawl your site and people know how to navigate it. And that's it, short and sweet. Navigation can be really simple. It has major impact on customer experience and it can impact your SEO. But if you follow a few simple things, you should have no problem building a very effective and navigation system that really works for your business. So in this lesson, we talked about important do's and don'ts of your website navigation. And that's it for Module 2. In the next module, we're going to talk about how to optimize your website for traffic and conversions. So this is a really important module. I want you to stick around. I will see you there.